So picture this. We've built one technology to create trust without needing a bank or a government. Then we built another one that has the power to shatter the very math that trust is built on. And now we're building a third that can act as both the ultimate defender and the perfect attacker. These three forces are coming together, and they're writing a brand new and kind of scary story about the future of trust itself.
Yeah, we're kicking off with this quote because it just perfectly captures the stakes here. This isn't just a nerdy tech talk. We're talking about a fundamental shift in how our entire digital world is secured.
All right, so to really get what's going on here, we first need to properly introduce the three main characters in this epic technological drama.
First up, you've got blockchain, which was specifically designed to solve the age-old problem of trust. Then you have quantum computing, which comes along and directly challenges the hard math that our current trust systems rely on. And finally, there's AI, the great accelerator, the wild card that just amplifies the power of the other two.
So where do these three massive forces collide? Well, it's on this one central battleground: information integrity. It all boils down to a really fundamental question. In a purely digital world, how do we actually know what's real? How do we prove truth, ownership, and even our own identity?
And that brings us to the crack in the armor. You see, the entire security model of pretty much every blockchain today hangs by a single thread, a simple assumption that certain math problems are just way too hard for our current computers to solve. But what happens when a totally new kind of computer shows up, one that doesn't play by the same rules?
And that, right there, that's the perfect setup for the main event, the quantum threat. This is the part of the story where the bizarre new rules of quantum mechanics are used to build a key that can unlock the old, classical locks we thought were unbreakable.
Now, there are two specific quantum algorithms that are basically the villains of this piece. Shor's algorithm, that's the big one. It's a genuine existential threat because it can flat out break the digital signatures that prove you own your crypto. Then there's Grover's algorithm. It's not quite as devastating, but it still seriously weakens the hash functions that chain all the blocks together.
Okay, so let's put a number on this threat to make it feel a bit less abstract. Researchers have estimated that it would take a quantum computer with about 370,000 stable qubits to crack Bitcoin security. Now, we are not there yet, not even close, but for the very first time we have a number, we have a target.
So the big question is, when? When does this become a real, tangible problem? Well, general estimates are pretty broad, anywhere from a few years to a few decades. But a lot of experts are pointing to a 5 to 15-year window where the risk starts getting very real. And that's exactly why the recommended target for industries to get quantum ready is right around 2030. The clock is definitely ticking.
And here's the really scary part. The attack isn't just some future possibility. It's kind of already happening through a strategy called Harvest Now, Decrypt Later. It's simple. Bad actors are copying and storing huge amounts of encrypted data today with the full intention of just sitting on it until they have a quantum computer powerful enough to crack it all open.
And that quote just hits the nail on the head, right? Think about it. The whole point of a blockchain is that it's a permanent, unchangeable record. But that permanence suddenly becomes a huge liability when the cryptography protecting that record might one day be broken.
Now, before you panic and think blockchain is totally toast, let's be clear. This probably isn't an extinction event. It's more like a forced, rapid evolution. The core idea of a distributed ledger is still incredibly powerful. It's the cryptographic armor protecting it that needs a massive fundamental upgrade.
So how does it survive? How does blockchain evolve? Well, the answer is something called post-quantum cryptography, or PQC for short. This is a whole new field dedicated to creating new types of math problems based on things like lattices and complex code that we believe are hard for both our regular computers and quantum computers to solve.
But just when you think we've got a plan, a wild card enters the game and makes everything way more complicated. AI arrives on the scene as the great accelerator, and it's capable of playing for both sides.
All right, let's look at AI wearing the white hat first. As a defender, it can act like a superpowered immune system for these networks. It can dramatically improve things like fraud detection, boost security, and even make the whole system run more efficiently.
But, and this is a huge but, AI is a double-edged sword. As an attacker, it can be used to automate the hunt for weaknesses, help design better quantum attacks to make them even faster, and of course, power a whole new generation of incredibly sophisticated scams. This is such a perfect way to put it. It really crystallizes the difference between the two threats. The quantum threat is a pure math problem. It attacks the code. But the AI threat? That's a human problem.
It attacks our minds, our ability to tell what's real and what's fake. It attacks cognition itself.
Okay, so after all that, where are we? What does this all mean? Well, it means we're heading into a completely new frontier, where the very idea of digital trust is being rewritten by these incredible new computational forces.
You know, the future here isn't set in stone. It feels like we're standing at a crossroads with a few different paths ahead of us. The best case? A smooth, orderly upgrade to new security. The worst? A major crisis that forces a frantic, chaotic migration. Or maybe we end up somewhere in the middle, with hybrid systems, or even invent entirely new forms of security built on quantum physics itself. And this is my favorite part, because it's such a beautiful irony. Blockchain was designed to be trustless, a system where you don't have to trust any single person or company. But now, its very survival depends completely on old-fashioned human trust. Trust in the scientists to build new crypto, and trust in the global community to coordinate this massive, difficult upgrade.
And that brings us to this really profound insight. Decentralization didn't actually eliminate trust, it just moved it. It redistributed it. Instead of trusting a bank right here, right now, we are now placing our trust in the future, trusting that the code will remain secure and that the people running the network will continue to cooperate years and decades from now.
I absolutely love this idea. It's like we're pulling the camera way, way back. We're not just talking about nifty tools anymore. We're talking about three fundamental and maybe even competing theories. A theory of how we agree on what's true, a theory of how the physical universe actually works at its deepest level, and a theory of what intelligence even is. And that's really the heart of it all. The future of money, of value, isn't just about going digital anymore. It's becoming computational. The very nature of value is now tied to the nature of computation. And computation itself is changing. It's no longer just abstract ones and zeros. It's becoming physical, it's becoming quantum, and it's becoming intelligent.
So we have to leave you with this final massive question, one that goes way beyond crypto or tech. As these three incredible forces continue to converge, they're forcing us to ask something pretty deep. In a world where our very tools for calculating can actually reshape what is certain, how do we prove anything is true at all?